The Undertaker is by far the greatest wrestler in world wrestling entertainment. He's a legend, an icon, a phenomenon. He's been in a lot of great matches and had a lot of memorable moments. For the past 30 years, The Undertaker has worked very hard to earn all of the respect from his fans. As a kid, I always thought that he actually was a dead man who rose from a grave. I always thought that he actually was a dead man who was invincible and conquered many superstars in his career. This just shows how well Mark Calloway played his role as the Phenom. Yes, even in retirement, The Undertaker was, still is, and always will be the best wrestler in WWE. In fact, The Undertaker is WWE. Truth be told, Survivor Series was a great send-off to the dead man, a great way to end such a historic, legendary career, even though Vince McMahon screwed up some of it. It's good that he's finally able to retire in peace. However, in this video, I'm going to talk about the 3 ways that I thought or even hoped he would retire. As I said before, there was nothing wrong with his final farewell at Survivor Series. It was a perfect send-off. I even thought that the Boneyard match he had with AJ Styles at WrestleMania 36 was a perfect send-off, which is why at first I didn't get why The Undertaker was having another farewell, and honestly, I kind of thought it wouldn't end well. I was pretty worried about it, and the reason why is because I heard some rumors that the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, might show up at Survivor Series, ruin the farewell segment, attack The Undertaker, and it might lead to a match at WrestleMania 37 where The Undertaker passes the torch and puts over the Fiend. If this were the case, then what was the point of this? You know what? I'll talk about this atrocity later. What's important is that it didn't happen, and praise the Lord that it didn't. Anyway, here are the 3 ways that I think Undertaker could have retired. Number 1. The Undertaker beating Brock Lesnar to avenge his streak. Let's talk about the worst moment in WWE history. One of the worst decisions WWE has ever made. Brock Lesnar ending the undefeated streak at WrestleMania 30. Ever since Lesnar ended Undertaker's streak, he and especially Paul Heyman have been bragging about it over and over and over again. It annoyed and angered the living crap out of me when I was younger. I know it's all part of the show, but Paul Heyman would just not shut up about it. He probably spent almost a year bragging about it. However, I was thinking that maybe his constant gloating might lead to a rematch between Undertaker and Lesnar at WrestleMania 31, where The Undertaker would beat Lesnar to avenge his streak and finally shut Heyman up. I would have definitely loved to see the dead man end his career that way. Honestly, I think he should have retired 20-0 undefeated at WrestleMania, but if he was meant to lose his first match and come back to WrestleMania to beat Lesnar and retire right after, I would have been all for that. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Ever since the streak was broken, Undertaker was just put in random matches, even matches that didn't make any sense. I mean, does the end of an era match back in WrestleMania 28 mean anything now? I mean, his match against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31 was pretty decent, but it was still just random. And it still pisses me off to this day that The Undertaker will never have the chance to fight Lesnar again at WrestleMania to avenge his streak. In fact, I'm even more pissed off that Taker has never really beaten Lesnar at all. I mean, sure, he has beaten him on a few occasions, a handicap match, triple threat match, but never in a one-on-one match. Heck, they both fought at SummerSlam 2015 and the creative team couldn't even get that right. Undertaker tapping out? Really? The Phenom? The Dead Man? The Immortal Undertaker tapping out to Lesnar? Really? He may have won the match according to the ref, but because of the controversial ending, a lot of people claim that Lesnar won that match, and they have proof for it. Next thing you know, they fought again at Hell in a Cell 2015, and guess who won that match? Brock Lesnar. Well, I guess that attack from Undertaker at Battleground was all for nothing if he was going to lose the rivalry anyway. Number 2. 25 years of The Undertaker. At Survivor Series 2015, WWE was celebrating 25 years of the Dead Man, which I think was pretty cool and well deserved. After everything The Undertaker has done for the company, the guy deserved to be celebrated for all of his accomplishments and unforgettable moments. I also liked the match he was in at Survivor Series, teaming up with Kane against the Wyatt family. It would have been a lot better if it was a 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination tag team match, but I guess they couldn't find anyone to team up with the Brothers of Destruction. Anyway, this would have definitely been a good way to end The Undertaker's career. I mean, he did debut at Survivor Series, and after 25 years, this would have been a pretty good way to retire at Survivor Series. Teaming up with his brother one last time, winning a match with him one last time, walking back up to the ramp with him one last time, and raising his hand in victory with his brother one last time. I remember one of the commentators, JBL I believe, saying that this might be the last time we see this moment, and I actually thought it would be. Or maybe instead, Undertaker could have fought Bray Wyatt in his final match at Survivor Series 2015 instead of WrestleMania 31. That would have been just as good, but I would have been fine without a match. Bottom line, Undertaker's match at Survivor Series 2015 would have been a good send-off, in my opinion. In number 3, Undertaker vs. John Cena at WrestleMania 33 and Undertaker vs. AJ Styles on SmackDown. Between 2016 and 2017, a lot of fans have been wanting to see Undertaker vs. John Cena at WrestleMania. They called it a dream match, due to the fact that both Cena and The Phenom have had some great moments at WrestleMania. At first, I wasn't really interested in that match because, like I said before, the only logical match that Undertaker should have at WrestleMania is against Brock Lesnar to avenge his undefeated streak, which never happened. But after hearing that The Undertaker was competing at the 2017 Royal Rumble and John Cena facing AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble, I was thinking, maybe this might lead to something big. Here's what I thought and even hope would happen. John Cena beats AJ Styles for the WWE title, which he actually did, and become a 16-time world champion. Next, The Undertaker wins the 2017 Royal Rumble match for the second time in his career. Then John Cena defends and retains the WWE title at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Finally, it would be official. Undertaker vs. John Cena, legend versus legend, at the main event of the grandest show of sports entertainment, WrestleMania, for the WWE Championship. In my opinion, that would be huge. Undertaker going after the WWE title for one last time in his career? That's pretty lit if you ask me. That's pretty tight. I mean, that's just as good as avenging his streak. So I would have definitely been behind that, and I was. I really did hope it would happen. Here's what else I hope would happen. Undertaker wins the match and becomes the WWE Champion for the 8th time in his career. Then Taker and Cena show respect to each other after the match. The Undertaker arrives on SmackDown to start off the show. Before he's given a microphone, AJ Styles shows up, confronts the Dead Man, and demands a WWE title match. I mean, AJ Styles never had his one-on-one rematch for the title after losing it to Cena, so it would make sense. Daniel Bryan, who was the manager at the time, shows up and makes it official. The main event of SmackDown would be Undertaker vs. AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Undertaker wins and retains the title. After SmackDown goes off the air, The Undertaker does what he actually did at WrestleMania 33. He takes off his gloves, brings his hat and coat, and places it all at the center of the ring. He also places the WWE title in front of his wrestling attire. Next, he does his kneeling pose, leaves the ring, walks up to the entrance ramp with his hand raised in victory. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that would be the end of the illustrious career of The Undertaker. In my opinion, this send-off would have been perfect. Considering the fact that Undertaker spent most of his career on SmackDown, this would have been an incredible way for The Undertaker to end it all. But no, this crazy old man had something else in mind, and it definitely wasn't better. Instead, Cena and Taker were in separate matches at WrestleMania 33. And guess who Undertaker fought instead? Roman Reigns. Now here's the thing. I don't really like Roman Reigns, but I don't hate the guy either. I just hate the fact that he was constantly shoved down our throats for the past few years. I mean, he main evented 4 straight WrestleManias, for crying out loud. If you're gonna have the same person main event WrestleMania 4 years straight, at least choose a person that people like. I'm believing that Vince McMahon was trying to make Reigns the next top babyface of the company, or how others would like to call it, the next John Cena. Now I know a lot of people don't like Cena either, but at least he made things entertaining, especially with his mic skills and great promos. Reigns just didn't have that at the time. His promos were dull and so were some of his moves. I mean, he was pretty good when he was in the Shield, but somehow once they split up, he just got boring. He had the same old ring gear, same old music, same old believe that gimmick, just boring. Yet despite knowing that most fans do not like Reigns, Vince continued to push him to the moon, continued to make him look strong. He did everything in his power, to get the fans behind Reigns, and he failed every time. But the old man would not give up. He kept on trying. What's worse is this old man actually thought putting Reigns in the same ring as the Phenom would get fans behind him. In fact, he actually thought having him beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania would get the fans behind him. Obviously it didn't. It made the fans hate Reigns even more. I mean, the night after WrestleMania, when Reigns started off Raw, the constant boos, the constant you suck chants, F you Roman chants, go away chants, all this heat that Reigns was getting. I honestly felt bad for Reigns during that night because it wasn't even his fault. He's just doing what he's told. So it really sucks that he had to go through all that due to Vince McMahon's massive ego. Especially having to utter these atrocious words. This is my yard now. Nope. Sorry, Reigns. It's never gonna be your yard, no matter how many times you say it. Some people claim that this was just to put over younger talent, for Undertaker to pass the torch to a younger superstar. But why Reigns? Why couldn't it be someone like Braun Strowman, the Demon King Finn Balor, or even Aleister Black? I mean, I know Black was not on the roster at the time, but he would have been a way better person to pass the torch to than Reigns. Now, some other people would claim that it was actually The Undertaker who wanted this match against Reigns. It was him who wanted to put Reigns over. Well, I'll tell you this. If anyone could give me some proof that it was The Undertaker's idea, I would really appreciate that, because I strongly don't believe that the Phenom had anything to do with this. I once read an article that Undertaker vs. Cena was supposed to happen at WrestleMania, but Vince changed his mind because he was thinking about a match between Undertaker and Reigns for a while. So unless there's an article or at least a video of The Undertaker saying he wanted this match against Reigns, I don't buy it. I know some people are starting to like Roman now since he's a heel. I'm still not a fan, but if you like Reigns, good for you. People like what they like, and I gotta respect that. But if this was the actual send-off to the dead man after losing to someone who wasn't that popular at the time, that would have been a complete spit on the face of many fans, including myself. But overall, back on topic, I'm really glad that this was the last chapter and a much better end of The Undertaker's career, especially paying respect to the late great Paul Bearer. Absolute gold. But anyway, this is all just my opinion. What do you think? How do you think The Undertaker should have retired? Do you like the 3 ways I talked about? If not, it really don't matter to me. What matters is you already know what they are. But you can tell me on the comments section why you don't like those ways. In conclusion, it's been an awesome 30 years watching this guy in action. There's only one Undertaker, and there will never be another. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you, Taker. Thank you.